a pleasure to have this opportunity to speak to Barbara Feinstein. She is the Deputy Secretary of State, and she works around the situation of Haiti, the hemisphere itself. And Haiti, thank you for giving us the time. Welcome to Voice of America.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Great. Let's go straight to the point. You're well versed in what we call the multinational force negotiation. And we're talking about Haiti, looking forward for a force, or such a multinational force going to Haiti. The Haitian officials, they did ask for an international intervention in Haiti to help them fight the gangs and eventually restore order in the Caribbean nation. Now, I noticed the U.S., everybody's noticing the U.S. is supporting and even promoting the idea. Yesterday, Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with the President of Kenya. What was said in that meeting? Can you tell us?
So there's been quite a bit of progress this week at the UN General Assembly around the high-level week devoted to Haiti. As you may have seen, President Biden, in his own remarks, talking about all of the crises and challenges in the world, the first one that he highlighted was Haiti, which I think is representative of our desire to see this multinational security support mission deploy as quickly as possible to secure a United Nations Security Council resolution, which we hope will be adopted as quickly as possible. And so Secretary Blinken's commentary and engagement with Kenya has been primarily appreciation for the role that Kenya has taken now that they have announced that they will lead this multinational security support mission. And so much of our conversations in New York this week have been devoted to speaking with other partners and seeing what they can provide in terms of training, equipment, personnel, and really speaking to, as Secretary Blinken referred to it today, the fierce urgency of now, that the situation on the ground is so dire, is so in need of international support, that we are committed to doing all we can to make that happen as quickly as possible.
Very well. Of course, he met with the President of Kenya. And this morning, it seems that he met with the Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, from Haiti. And you were at that meeting, and can you tell us what transpired from that meeting?
So Secretary Blinken met with Prime Minister Henry, and then immediately after that, he met with a coalition of foreign ministers, ambassadors, permanent representatives, and others from more than 35 countries and institutions, again, to talk about the multinational security support mission. Kenya was part of that discussion. They laid out their vision for what they think is needed based on the assessment that they have done now on the ground. They talked a bit about next steps. And what was deeply encouraging was to hear from around the table, so that represented basically every region of the world, from Europe to Asia to South America, the Caribbean, of course, and Haiti, what the challenges are. And a real desire to make progress.
Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, Barbara, don't you think that it all starts with the vote from the Security Council in the United Nations? The Security Council should give you the okay. How about that? Don't you think so?
So we fully agree, and we are pushing to have the UN Security Council resolution, which would provide what's called a Chapter 7 authorization to this support mission. We hope that that vote will take place as soon as next week. And we are calling on partners in the Security Council, many of whom were in the room at today's discussion, to move forward with that. Now, I think a few important things to state with regard to that resolution. We think it's important that it not only include the broad mandate, which Kenya has been clear about, but it also include lessons learned from prior missions, prior interventions in Haiti, so that it have language relating to accountability, have language relating to, for example, the need for basic sanitation and other practices given the cholera epidemic, a reference to human rights. So those are the kinds of things that we and other partners are also pushing for as those negotiations are underway. And I should also note, so our, what's called in the UN terminology, co-pen holder, or in other words, the other country that we're working on this, Ecuador, also gave some very powerful remarks during today's discussion, and they are doing what they can also to push for this resolution to be adopted as quickly as possible.
Okay. Talking about next week, so you feel optimistic about the resolution?
We do.
It will be a yes, a go?
We are certainly doing everything that we can to push it in that direction, and I think the kind of support that we saw in New York this week was very positive in terms of the momentum. And ultimately, the situation on the ground is what ought to drive action more than anything. These diplomatic engagements are important, but one need only turn on the news, listen to what's going on in Haiti to recognize, as I said, as Secretary Blinken put it, the fierce urgency of now. We need to act.
Definitely, yes, we realize that he said that. Now you need to act now. Let's suppose that you get the okay from the Security Council, the United Nations. Now tell us, what will be the specific mission of the multinational force that you're talking about, headed by Kenya?
So what Kenya has laid out to date, and this is based on the assessment that they performed in Port-au-Prince, as well as discussions that they've had with other partners. I know they've had engagements with others who've been involved in Haiti in the past, obviously with Haitians as well. They've talked about a three-pronged mission. So the first part is, they talked about how when they traveled to Haiti, what they had in mind was a static security mission, primarily freeing up the Haitian National Police to combat the gangs while they would provide for static security of key institutions and thoroughfares, etc. In today's meeting, Kenya talked about how being on the ground completely shifted their perspective. So static security remains important in order to open up lanes of support for commerce, for humanitarian assistance, etc. But they also recognize that there needs to be operational support to the Haitian National Police to facilitate their work to combat the gangs. And then the third prong of it is strengthening the Haitian National Police as a longer-term vision in terms of getting the country back on its feet from a security perspective.
Understood. Let's be more specific. Last UN mission in Haiti, of course, it was a mission to keep the peace. That was a peacekeeping mission. So they will not intervene. They will not even engage. This time, as you know, the situation in Haiti, so many gangs around Port-au-Prince, they're very heavily armed. Will Kenyan's military soldiers, let's put it like that, will they be engaging in dismantling the gangs in Haiti?
So first, just to clarify that while I think military will be engaged, the vision that Kenya has articulated so far is that this will primarily be a police-led mission. Having said that, there will be military involved as well. I don't want to speak for Kenya in terms of what they will or will not do, but just to state that they are very clear-eyed about the challenges on the ground. They want this to be a successful mission. They are aware of the power of the gangs. They are aware of the extent to which the gangs are heavily armed. And so in terms of the vision that they will be articulating and working with international partners on, that will be very much to address the challenges on the ground.
Okay, very well. Now, as a scenario, let's put that on scenario here. The United Nations Security Council give you the okay. The vote is made next week. How soon do you go to Haiti?
So what Kenya has stated publicly is that they would like to mobilize in a matter of months. So again, we see incredible urgency. The United States today announced, Secretary Blinken announced his intent to work with our Congress to provide $100 million for financing of this mission. And in addition, commensurate amounts from our Department of Defense to work on logistics, intelligence support, other necessary aspects. In addition, around the table today, we heard from probably about 10 to 12, and I'm not at liberty to speak for them, but countries who said that they would volunteer in terms of personnel, equipment, training, financing. So we are quite optimistic that countries will come together as soon as there is a UN Security Council resolution and provide what's necessary to deploy as quickly as possible.
Okay. And of course, Kenya has offered to lead the multinational force. Are you confident that Kenya can do the job?
We are confident in that. We think that Kenya has deep experience in peacekeeping. Again, they are going in eyes wide open. They're asking all the right questions. In addition, they have key personnel that have deep experience in peacekeeping itself. And the multitude of actors, to include the United States and others, contributing to this force, we think will make it a success.
Even though there are some reports that are stating that they had felt some part in Africa, bringing some peace in Africa, South Africa, for example. So you're still confident that Kenya can do it? Why doesn't the U.S. lead the mission? Why not? Why not the U.S.?
So we have been very dedicated to looking for a lead for this multinational force, cognizant of prior history of the United States, of other actors in Haiti. And as we've had conversations with the Canadians, with others, for who has the capacity to do this, in that context, Kenya has come forward and said that they would answer this call on behalf of the international community. I believe President Ruto called it a test for the international community of our time, and we are incredibly grateful to Kenya for answering that call, and we'll do what we can to support their success.
How will you be supporting? What will be the U.S. contribution to this multinational force? I know money is on the table already. What else will the U.S. do?
So in terms of financing, I think that is particularly key as you talk about the different countries that have volunteered support in terms of personnel, whether that's Jamaica, the Bahamas, Antigua and Barbuda, others who have privately told us that they are interested in supporting, but will need financial contributions to support their participation. So the financial piece is really key. In addition, there will be a need for equipment for this. There's a need for weapons, there's a need for training, obviously the kind of vetting, the command and control, strategic planning, intelligence, logistics, airlift to get personnel from wherever they're coming from into Haiti to get them within Haiti. There's a need for medical, for evacuation. There's a whole range of needs. And what we have announced is, again, today, our intent to work with our Congress to identify $100 million more on the financing side, and then our Department of Defense to do an equivalent amount related to these logistical aspects that are vital to its success.
Okay, so we have an idea of the cost of the mission in Haiti. Now, how long do you predict this will be? How long it will take the force will stay in Haiti? This is one of the questions that people are asking because of the previous mission that the United Nations had in Haiti. They stayed longer. So how long will be that force in Haiti?
So I don't have a specific day that I can tell you this is when the force or the mission will conclude its duties. I think we are personally invested in its success and also in learning the lessons from those prior missions. So very intentionally, for example, Kenya has said that they want to do this work in support of the Haitian National Police. They don't wish to supplant the function of the Haitian National Police. And again, learning prior lessons, they want to make sure that the foundation is laid for a stronger Haitian National Police in terms of its capacity, professionalism, capability, and also its size, so that we don't, as an international community and for Haiti, find ourselves back in the situation again and again. Another key component of this, of course, is, yes, the security is important, but as Secretary Blinken emphasized today, we also need, and many other partners as well, we also need to see progress in terms of political consensus. That the security mission is vital, but will be insufficient if not accompanied by progress on the political front as well. And so that is something that he raised with Prime Minister Henry, and it's something that was also discussed in the context of our discussion today.
And how does he see the progress in Haiti? Political progress with the negotiation, the accords. How does Secretary Blinken see that?
So he has emphasized that we need to see genuine compromise on all parts, that we need to see an inclusive process that will define the return to democratic order in Haiti, that will be an inclusive CEP, for example, the Provisional Electoral Council, and that there needs to be credibility in these processes so that as quickly as possible, given the security improvements, that there can be elections in Haiti, and so that the Haitian people can have their voices heard and select their new leadership.
I'm talking about elections, of course.
Yes.
You see what a frame time for the election. Do you have any idea?
Again, that's not for the United States to determine what the time frame is. From our perspective, what is most urgent is an enlargement of the political consensus so that they can, from a Haitian perspective, determine a framework for the next steps on elections, for security, and returning the country to a democratic path.
Very well. But in the negotiation, there's a perception from the Haitian parties, the Haitian sectors, political sectors. They feel that the U.S. is definitely, no matter what, backing up Prime Minister Ariel Henry, despite the fact that he doesn't want to have or facilitating the accord to be signed. How do you respond to that?
So we've been calling on all sides, so certainly the Prime Minister, also civil society, the private sector, religious leaders to come together as urgently as possible to enter into dialogue, which is good, but better than that is actual solutions and compromise leading to those solutions.
Great.
And that is something that we have called for of all actors.
A last question, if you allow me. The US has been helping the national police, of course, but the US is also aware that the weapons that are going to the bandits, the gangs in Haiti, they travel overseas, from overseas going to Haiti. And passing by the US, does the administration of President Biden knows that? And why doesn't the US do anything about it?
So the United States is deeply concerned about the scourge of illegal weapons within the hemisphere, within Haiti, within the Caribbean, and we are taking very meaningful steps on this challenge. In July, Vice President Harris was in Nassau meeting with Caribbean leaders, and she announced at that point, in June, Vice President Harris was in Nassau and announced at that point the designation of a new coordinator for firearms trafficking, specifically looking at prosecutions of these cases of straw purchasers who are illegally trafficking weapons to Haiti, to elsewhere in the Caribbean. And last summer, the Congress passed and our president signed into law legislation called the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. And that, for the first time ever, created stiffer penalties and made it a federal crime to traffic illegal weapons overseas. And so these are new authorities that our justice system has now. So the creation of a special prosecutor coordinator to look at these issues across the region is something that's vital to take advantage of those tools and bring it that additional focus. In addition to that, we have supported in Trinidad and Tobago the Crime Gun Intelligence Unit, which is part of the CARICOM impact system. And that is looking across the region because, as you know, very often these are not individuals that are doing a one-off operation. These are networks who are operating not just in Haiti, but in other parts of the region as well. So to the extent that we have that cooperation across countries, that they are taking advantage of serial numbers from the guns that they seize, tracing those back to databases, including in the United States, that we are making available, we think we will be able to strengthen those prosecutions, hold people accountable, and then deter future cases of arms trafficking. And then the last thing I would mention is, with regard to the Haitian National Police, we also are establishing a transnational criminal investigative unit within the Haitian National Police, again, to work with law enforcement in the United States to better track the flow of these kinds of weapons and do what we can on prosecutions. Also wanted to mention, Secretary Blinken today announced the designation of 5 more individuals for visa restrictions. And this is part of our broader policy of trying to promote accountability in Haiti for those individuals who are supporting gangs and destabilizing the situation. So we were pleased to be able to announce 5 more individuals who will be permanently barred from accessing the United States under this designation.
5 more individuals. You have the names?
So under US law, visa restrictions are confidential, so we're not allowed to reveal the names. But I can tell you that overall, this takes the number of people that we have designated through visa restrictions or other financial or other sanctions to more than 50, which is more than any other country in the world.
Okay, well, we're out of time, unfortunately. I was going to add, does the US think these measures are efficient? Because there is no follow-up, it seems. After those measures, you're taking sanctions, but are they efficient, do you think?
So what we have seen on the ground is that this does make a difference in terms of motivating individuals' behavior, in terms of whether they continue to fund gangs or engage in other destabilizing behavior. The fact that they, and it's not just them, but their family members, are then barred from coming to the United States. So if somebody has a relative that wants to study in the United States, and all of a sudden, based on their father or mother's activities, they can't do that, that is a powerful incentive to take a different course in terms of more productive behavior.
Thank you very much.
Miami.